Welcome back to another piano expressive session. Let's build on what we've already learned, but first check in with your posture. Make sure your back is straight, your neck is long, your shoulders are relaxed and your feet are flat on the floor. You've got forearms that are angled down towards the keys, lovely relaxed wrists, dome-shaped hands and strong curved fingers. You're also feeling positive, relaxed and ready to focus on learning these new skills. Last time we had a look at your interaction with the keys and those lovely relaxed wrists, engaging our hearing, making sure that we've got a real connection with the sound coming out of the piano and how that is influenced by what's going on with our hands, moving smoothly between the keys, creating nice flowing coordinated hand gestures, engaging our imagination so that we can hear the music in our head before it pours out of our fingers, and playing the gradually louder and gradually softer dynamics to begin to give shape to some of our musical phrases. And we looked at the short piece Pussycat. Today we're going to have a look at two new dynamic markings that will give us the opportunity to add emphasis and continue to shape our musical phrases. Here's today's short tune entitled On the Ice. As you can see, somebody's out on the ice on their blades and they do a bit of a whoopsie and fall down. How sad. If you have a look at this little piece of music, you can see that we've got the word calm at the top. So again, we don't have to go at 100 miles an hour. We've got two staves, both trebles, so we're reading treble notes for both hands. We've got a time signature of 2/4, and we've got lovely alternating playing with our left hand starting first, followed by our right, left, right, and left. If you have a look through the sheet music, you can see that we've got a couple of new symbols, the tenuto sign, which is in the 4th bar on top of that C. And if you look further along, in bar 9, we've got a little accent sign over that D. More about them later. Here's my demo. And I'm done. Let's go through the sheet music. You can see initially in the 1st bar, we've got our left hand playing 2 Gs with our 4th finger, followed by 2 As with our 3rd finger. The right hand takes over, plays the 2 Bs, and then in the 4th bar, we've got our 3rd finger playing a C. And you can see a little bar drawn above that C. That's called a tenuto sign, and that means held. To play a tenuto, you play the note a little bit deeper or with a little bit more arm weight than you normally would. So you channel your arm weight through your wrist and your fingers into the note so that the sound is a little bit louder or a little bit deeper. And you hold on to it just for a smidgen longer than it's written. So it's not too much, it's not like a pause, it's just hanging on to it for maybe a nanosecond longer than you should to give that note emphasis. So we are pressing the key a little bit more strongly and holding that note down a little bit longer. Not too much though. Let's do that little section again. You'll also notice that as I was playing that, I put a little gradually louder in there as well. It seems to me that each of those notes is building up towards the main point, which is that C. And even though there's no gradually louder written in the music, there's no reason why we can't add one in ourselves. It feels to me like that's what the music wants to do, so that's what I'm going to play and that's what I'm going to put in. So I've got a little bit gradually louder happening as I go up from G to A to B, and then there's the main part of my little idea there. You can see the next 4 bars are exactly the same. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll have to soften off a little bit or pull back on those Gs so that I've got somewhere to build up to. So if I was looking at dynamic symbols, perhaps those Gs would be MP, so moderately soft. And by the time I got up to my C with the tenuto in the right hand, I'd probably be doing like a moderately loud. So on those Gs, MP, not too much, a little bit more on the As, and now we've got definitely a gradually louder written in by the composer while we're working up to that C again. So I suppose what I've decided to do is emulate that dynamic marking in the first 4 bars as well. Even though it's not written there, but I don't think the dynamics police are going to come and arrest me for doing that. All together in the first 4 bars, we've got something like this. Building up, gradually louder, and we get to C, and then we start again, building up to our C tenuto. Then in the next bar, we've got a D with an accent with our 4th finger. With an accent, we need to apply a little bit more force than a tenuto. It's quite a distinct force on that note, giving that particular note the main emphasis in our phrase. Once we've played that D with an accent, we go back down to our left hand and play 2 Ds and a G. Again, quite forcefully, quite loudly. If I was looking at dynamics, I'd say once I got to my D, that would be an F, and I'd keep up that forte or that F while I'm playing those left hand notes. Then we do it again, accent, and then we're coming to the end. So you can see the composer's written in a gradually softer. Now the question is, how many phrases are in this little piece of music? I've sort of divided it up into 3 sections, but I actually feel that this piece of music is one long continuous phrase. I don't really feel that any ideas come to an end. We have a little pause and a little break, but I don't think the ideas actually end. That's my opinion anyway. It looks to me like we've got a story of someone out on the ice, having fun. Okay, and even though we've got a break there and a stop, it doesn't feel like it's finished to me. It feels like it still needs to keep going. So we keep moving forward with our skating, and then here's the point where we're getting to, where we fall down. The main point of the piece, and again, and then our story ends. So my interpretation of this little piece will be just one long continuous idea that tells a story from the really happy starting point of skating on the ice to the big bad boom crash at the end. I've put in a few microdynamics that weren't there and some dynamic markings to indicate how loud and soft I might be aiming towards at each of those little tiny ideas within my phrase. Have a pause and have a play of the whole tune. Remember, focus on your interaction with the keys, those lovely relaxed wrists. Engage your hearing so that you can hear the sound coming out of the piano, and be very conscious of the connection between what your hands are doing with the keys and the sounds that you're creating. Moving smoothly between the keys as the notes change. Having lovely flowing coordinated hand gestures so you can't really tell when one hand stops playing and the other begins. Engage your imagination so you can hear the music in your head before it pours out your fingers. And of course, begin to shape your phrase. Listen very carefully for all the dynamic variations and the accents and their tenuto signs when you create your own interpretation of this little tune. That's it for this session. Make sure you have a think about what you've learned a few times between now and next time we sit down and play together. I'll see you next time, where we start to think about incorporating character into a piece of music.